Hello and welcome to this MindFusion video tutorial. Today we will build this basic data grid, which has no data. It consists of an index column, which is of integer type. Then there is a string column, followed by a date column. The date column shows a drop-down calendar, which allows you to pick up the date. Then we have a lookup column, which is a column that allows the user to choose among a set of specified values. The column renders a combo box with the options. Finally, we have a currency column. When we type numbers in it, it formats them as currency. We have created a folder for the project, and there we have copied all themes that we will use. The CSS themes are in two folders, one for the UI and the other for the grid. They contain the same colors. We have copied all JavaScript files that we will use in a folder called scripts. We have created two empty files, a web page and a JavaScript code behind file. First, we add references to the theme files. Here we use the standard theme, but you can pick up any other from the available themes. Make sure you apply the same theme for the UI controls and for the grid. We add references to all the JavaScript files in the scripts folder. We add the code at the end of the web page, right before the closing body tag. The last code to add to the web page is the code that initializes two div elements. One is needed for the grid to render itself onto. We give it an ID grid. The other is used to position the grid. Now we start writing the code for the grid. We add a reference to the TypeScript file for the grid. This will give us IntelliSense support for the grid API. Then we add mappings to the namespaces that we will use. We create two arrays. One will hold all grid columns that we will create. The other will be used as a backing store for the grid data. Then we create the first grid column and name it index. This is its ID. The title that will be rendered as header is hashmark. The data type of the column is integer. There are other options, of course. We add the newly created column to the columns array. So, how do we bind those columns to the grid? Let's create a new instance of the grid class. We do this using the reference to the div element with an ID grid that we initialized in the web page. Then we assign the business theme to the theme property of the grid. As you see, the name of the CSS files that we referenced is the same as the value of the theme property, which is of type string. Note this, when you create your own themes, the name of the file should be assigned as a value to the theme property. Then we create a grid model. In our case, we create an array model. The first argument is the expenses array, which is empty and is used as a backing store. The second argument is the columns list. It is this list that determines the columns that will be rendered by the grid. The last argument is the index in the grid. You can omit it. Now, if we refresh the page, we must be able to see our grid. Here it is. It has only one column of type integer. We can type values and create rows with data. Let's add a new column of type string. Now we have two columns. Note that when I try to type letters into the first column, nothing appears. That's because validation according to the data type is provided by the control for each data type. Let's create the third column. It is of type date type. We would like to render a drop-down calendar as the way to edit data. We do this by mapping the custom editor value of the metadata property. In the custom editor, we turn on autocomplete and allow empty input. Let's see what happens now. Here is the grid. You see, in the third column, when we click to edit the values, the calendar drop-down appears. When we try to type invalid value, the control matches it to the closest valid value according to the data type, in this case, date. Let's add the fourth column. It is of lookup type. This means the value will be selected from a list with options. We create an array with the options and assign it to the values field of the metadata property, which is a map, as we said. Now, if we click on a cell in the type column, we see a combo box with the available options. When we try to type into the column, the option that matches most closely the first typed letter appears. Let's add 2 more columns. The first one is of type string again, but the second is of type currency. This means that we can still type their only numbers, but they will be formatted as currency. Here is our grid. We type some numbers in the last column. They get formatted as currency. We have just built a grid that shows a combo box with options, a drop calendar for date-time values, an index column with integers. We are ready with our basic grid. In the next tutorial, we will look at more advanced features of the grid like loading data from files, auto-generation of values, and more. Thank you for watching, and thank you for your interest in MindFusion Developer Tools.